in this video lesson, we're going to start looking at arthropods. And in particular, we're going to look at the general characteristics of these fascinating creatures. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. There's nothing really to see on the screen that is of any import at the moment. So just shut your eyes. Go ahead, shut your eyes, and just listen to this scenario. It's dusk. We're near the edge of a meadow, and a grasshopper leaps through the grass. But nearby, a hungry spider waits in its web. The grasshopper leaps into the web, and it's caught! As the grasshopper struggles to free itself, the spider rushes toward it. Quickly, the spider wraps the grasshopper in silk, and the grasshopper cannot escape. Soon, it will become a tasty meal for the spider. An unfortunate turn of events for the grasshopper, but quite fortunate for the spider. And both the grasshopper and the spider are arthropods, or what we call members of the arthropod phylum, Arthropoda. Now, animals such as crabs, lobsters, centipedes, and scorpions also belong to the phylum Arthropoda. So let's take a look at the general characteristics of arthropods. So arthropods are classified into four major groups. Here's the four. You've got crustaceans, arachnids, and then third is centipedes and millipedes, and then fourth are the insects. And all arthropods share certain characteristics. For example, arthropods are invertebrates that have an external skeleton, a segmented body, and jointed attachments called appendages. Okay, so three important characteristics right there: the external skeleton, the segmented body, and jointed attachments called appendages. So some of these appendages include wings, their mouth parts, and their legs. Those are all called appendages. Jointed appendages are such a distinctive characteristics that arthropods are actually named for it, because arthros actually means joint in Greek, and podos means foot or leg. Arthropods share a number of characteristics with other animals as well. For instance, they have bilateral symmetry, an open circulatory system, and a digestive system with two openings. In addition to that, most arthropods reproduce sexually. Now, if you were an arthropod, you would have a waterproof covering. This waxy covering is called an exoskeleton or an outer skeleton. And it protects the animal and helps prevent evaporation of water. So two functions of the exoskeleton. Again, it helps protect the animal and helps prevent evaporation of water. Water animals are surrounded by water, but land animals need a way to keep from drying out. And arthropods may have been the first animals to live on land. Their exoskeletons probably enabled them to do this because they keep the arthropods from drying out. As an arthropod grows larger, its exoskeleton can't expand. So the growing arthropod is literally trapped within its exoskeleton, like a knight that's in armor that's much too small for him. So arthropods solve this problem by occasionally shedding their exoskeletons and growing new ones that are larger. The process of shedding an outgrown exoskeleton is called molting, another one of your vocabulary words. After an arthropod has molted, its new skeleton is soft for a little while, and during that time, the arthropod has a lot less protection from danger than it does after its new skeleton has hardened. The image that you see on the screen is of a molting cicada. He is actually just finished molting, and you can see its old exoskeleton beneath him kind of hanging on the tree. Maybe you've gone out into your yard and seen one of those brown bug shells stuck on the screen of a window or on the bark of a tree, or maybe even your wooden fence. They're pretty common in the summertime. And of course, the green bug above it there, the cicada, is a little more vulnerable right now because of his shell being soft at the moment, but it will harden up over the next couple days. Another characteristic of arthropods is their segmented body. So clearly, their bodies are segmented, And a segmented body plan is easiest to see in things like centipedes and millipedes, which have bodies made up of many identical looking segments. In fact, their bodies look something like the bodies of earthworms, if you recall. And you can also see segments on the tails of shrimp and lobsters as well. And in some groups of arthropods, several body segments become jointed into distinct sections. An arthropod may have up to 3 sections: a head, a midsection, and a hind section. Characteristic of arthropods are jointed appendages. Just as your fingers are appendages attached to your palms, many arthropods have jointed appendages attached to their bodies. The joints in the appendages give the animal flexibility and enable it to move. If you did the discover activity, you saw how important joints are for allowing movement. Arthropod appendages tend to be highly specialized tools used for moving, obtaining food, reproducing, and sensing the environment. For example, arthropods use legs to walk and wings to fly. In addition, most arthropods have appendages called antennae, or in the singular, it would just be antenna, another one of your vocabulary words. And the definition of an antenna is an appendage attached to the head that contains sense organs. Another characteristic of arthropods is their immense diversity. In fact, scientists have identified more species of arthropods, literally over 1 million, than all other species of animals combined. There are probably many others that haven't even yet been discovered. You can look at the image here and compare some characteristics of the 4 major groups of arthropods. You'll see characteristics like number of body sections. Crustaceans have 2 or 3, arachnids have 2, centipedes and millipedes have 2, and insects have 3. You can also see a comparison of how many pairs of legs each type of arthropod has. Crustaceans tend to have 5 or more. Arachnids usually have 4 to 6, or pairs of legs, I'm sorry. It would be 8 legs, but 4 pairs. And the centipedes and millipedes have many. We don't even bother counting. We just, they're creepy crawlies, right? And then the insects tend to have 3 pairs or 6 legs. And then we can also compare and contrast the pairs of antennae. And crustaceans tend to have 2 pairs or 4. Arachnids don't tend to have any antennae. Centipedes and millipedes usually have 1 pair or just 2 antennae sticking out of their head, as do the insects.